Well, good morning, guys. I am already in the thick of the mess this morning, so it's been an interesting morning. Late getting out here because I actually witnessed an accident this morning, so I had to stop, spend about an hour, a little more than an hour, checking on those folks. It was pretty scary, but luckily everything was okay, and felt bad for that guy out there. So, but everybody was fine. He was just shook up. So got that out of the way and pulled up to the parking lot. Deer jumped off just at the parking lot, little doe. So I'm out here, and I scouted this property a few weeks ago. That clip I put on the YouTube short of me walking in the rain, I lost all that footage on that scout. I went home and I transferred it. I thought it completed, so I deleted it off the SD, went back, gone. So that was a very cool scout. Saw a lot of deer, so I wanted to come scout the other part of this block because obviously it holds good deer. So I wanted to scout alternate access and also some spots that I picked out on the map, including this one I'm standing in right now. I picked it off the map with a combination of using Onyx and Hut Stand. It's just the drainage feature that opens up. I could tell there was some different kind of terrain and trees in here, and I get in here and it's a lot of hickory, some big hickory nuts on the ground. There is a few oaks, but it is a lot of hickory. So on the map, it looks real open in here when you look in the off season. But as soon as this drainage actually connects to the other side of the property where I jumped like 7 does out of this big vine thicket. And as soon as I got off in this drainage, I saw a little clearing, and I jumped 3 or 4 does off of this little bedding area right here. So. And they went the same direction on the other side of the property where I was the other day. So this whole drainage system seems to be a pretty good spot, at least to hold those. So came over right here, and there's a couple little bedding spots around the trees. So there's several little pockets of little deer beds right in here. Looks like just doe bedding. You can see what they're tucked up against in there, and they're just standing up. And you can just see some of these browse lines. If you just slow down and start to look, you'll notice everything in here that's kind of nipped off right there. All these little leaves that are stripped off the top. All of this is just browsed off the tips. You see all those little tips that are missing, where they're just standing right here and picking off the tops of this beautyberry all through here. And what a lot of people don't realize is deer get a lot of their water from vegetation. You know, they're not drinking from the streams. You know, you're like, well, I know they eat beautyberry, but why would it be favored? Well, the texture on beautyberry actually will hold a lot of moisture. It doesn't run off too easy. And a lot of times they might be eating for a simple bit of vegetation, but also to get that water intake, especially in this area. There may be a shortage of water, but there's not a shortage of humidity. And you can just see where they're standing up in here, and just got it browsed down, just laid up in these little pockets. So it's kind of cool to slow down and take a check. Rudy actually posted a great little short video of checking the browse on greenbrier and things like that, and everything like these small little post oaks and stuff like that. They'll browse on it, so pretty cool just to slow down and take a look sometimes. So I came in from back that way. I'm just walking along the trail, making my way back, and I'm always looking for these little pockets of real thick diversity, just with all these sweet gum saplings and everything. And there's even big old giant wax myrtle in here. That's a wax myrtle stem, which just kind of staggered straight up, because what I saw was this tree that seems to be growing horizontally but still seems to be alive. So there's a lot of real tall vegetation growing on top of it. I didn't jump anything out of here, but I wanted to come check it out. And there was a couple of trails leading back in here. If you look in here, there's the tree growing over top, and there's a bed underneath it right there. I got down in there and looked super close, Seems like I just found a couple of doe tracks. Definitely no poop, no butt poop or anything, but there's a couple of broken limbs where they kind of laid them over. And definitely a cool little batting spot. I wish I would have been able to jump something out here so I could verify it, but there's just this little tree growing sideways about 5 or 6 inches around, and just creating this big shade cover right at the head of this drainage. It kind of keeps going uphill back that way, so pretty cool to check out. A lot of sunlight getting in the ground right here, as you can see. But see if we can make our way out of here. Keep going. You know, and I bring that up because the last time I was out here, I'm getting to where I scout slower and slower. I don't cover as much ground, but I find more details when I slow down and go look at things. Last time I was here, I was on the other side, and I saw something similar to that. I saw a down tree. It was a lot bigger, laid over kind of up on this side hill, and I walked out to it, and I jumped a little 6-point. Bedded right up against it. I wish I would have taken a little clip on my phone, but I didn't. That was on the scouting footage that I lost. He was a little buck, but I would have never known he was there. He was going to let me walk right by, you know, probably 70 or 80 yards away, and he was behind a bunch of the does that I bumped probably 200 yards. So sometimes those small features are better paid attention to than just blowing and going. So make the time for the day and check those details. So I'm just walking along this old log trail. Again, I'm just scouting access on the other side of this property, but I'm stopping and checking out some details. Right behind me is an old scrape right here. Not uncommon to see them on these trails, and they will last longer. So this could have been maintained throughout the later part of the season, but I don't pay a whole lot of attention to these anymore. They are good to see, but this could be something to check early season, because I see a lot of these low-hanging branches, a lot of this thick yaupon and vines hanging. That's perfect just for thrashing early season velvet antlers. But check this out. I looked a little closer, and this actually has muscadine vines hanging down in it, and there's actually muscadines hanging on the vines. We don't talk about muscadines a whole lot because they tend to play out before season starts, but this little grove right here actually seems to have quite a few grapes on it, which makes this scrape a little bit different. You never know. So again, just on the edge, a lot of these vines, sometimes you don't think we have muscadines here, but they exist. They just don't come into play all the time, but you can pay attention, and probably when they hit the ground, they don't last but a couple of days between all the critters in the woods trying to eat them. So pretty cool though. You can see wild grapes growing, and always fun to stop and take a look. But I'm gonna mark this. If I do come back through here, I might just want to at least pay attention, see if this opens back up. Alright, I'm still walking all the way around this block, and I could keep going, but I don't know if there's going to be a whole lot of value on this side. So if you look behind me, all that up there is just extremely monotonous, just pine plantation. It has not been thinned. This side over here has been thinned, and it's got some scattered oak. It's got real high vegetation. There's also some elevation right there. This is the drainage that runs all the way up to where I jumped those bucks. It's about 500 yards. So I'm kind of assuming that maybe this is the drainage they'll tend to work. Maybe. So I did drop a camera back there on kind of a corner area. Seemed like a couple of old scrapes, and there was actually some doe tracks in the sand. So I just dropped a camera there, kind of because I was itching to. But always in the spot. Always good to know where some does are if you want to take one out or hunt off of them. So I'm gonna work my way up this drainage. So I got real thick thinned area to the left, real monotonous pine plantation to the, or that on the right, that's on the left. Okay, get moving. Sitting down, taking a break. I'm about 150 yards from where I jumped those bucks, but I had a camera not too far from here. But this is why I think those bucks, you'll find them here later. Look, there's almost no pines in this grove. And there's a few right there. You go over here, there's a giant white oak. There's another red oak. Giant oak. Giant oak. Look at that monster over there behind this tree is in the way. And right behind me is a big double tree trunk white oak. And there's red oak scattered in here, and it's up on this little hilltop. Short thick cover, not very far away, right over there. Whew. I'm not surprised these deer are holding up in here. I think they just kind of know this is where they're going to be here in a little while, and they won't be far. I haven't jumped any deer in a while, but I certainly love this spot. Man, just big, beautiful trees. I got my binos with me, but wouldn't you know, can't see out on one side, so just giant oaks everywhere in here. Very pretty. Alright, so that is officially the second time I've been in here and jumped bucks. So I don't know how this camera high or not. I don't think anybody's coming down in here, but get this camera out and post up. Oh yeah, look, there's some more scat right there. That's 2 or 3 piles of scat and a buck over there, so it's a big down tree right there. Definitely a spot where we want to see if we can't get some intel. So I got my camera set up. The trail seems to be coming around this tree right here and kind of going straight through this little bottom and kind of cutting through there. I was going to set my camera on this side, and I noticed that down tree in the background. If I was a buck and I was going to that bottom, I'd probably come around, hug that down tree. I'm not walking out here kind of where it's more open. So I actually flipped, set my camera on this side. It's kind of far. Oop, is that the tree? Can you see it? Yeah, so. But that way if something does skirt, it looks kind of far, but it's only about 20 yards. If it does skirt that inside of that trunk, I'll catch it. So the question is, I was leaving that way, and that's where that buck was, and that's where he went. So the question is, do I turn around and loop out of here, or do I keep going? It's a long way out if I go back. Let me know what y'all would do, because I want to get out of here. But I don't want to scare the daylights out of this buck either, because he's only bedded about 250 yards from where those other bucks were. So basically I circle this whole area as being fairly active. I think I'm gonna go backwards though. Dang it. Off we go. Alright guys, we made it back to the car, and I actually just made it home, so I was beat down. I could not breathe, could not talk by the time I got to the car. Had drank my last water and then I got out of there. I actually went out the back way after jumping that buck, bedded on the end of that drainage. I didn't want to go in there. Actually, where he ran to was a trail I crossed going in this morning. Actually close to where that old scrape was and that old muscadine vine, that little video we filmed earlier. So cool to know he's there. Didn't see anything else with him, but found a lot of doe scat in there, so it seems to be a good little bottom right in there, a good little hub. Just trying to see where the deer like to hang out on that piece. I'm not too familiar with it yet, but learning that there is pretty good deer there. Jumped a little doe on the way out, and we'll see what kind of intel we can grab up. And certainly still looks like a spot that's holding pretty decent little deer herd. So appreciate you guys checking in. It wasn't as hot and heavy as it was the first go around, but it was a good scout nonetheless. So you guys are getting out there, be safe, drink some Gatorade, and eat a lot of carbs the night before you go out. It certainly makes a big difference when you go out scouting, because actually I felt pretty decent by the time I got to the car, and I did 8.2 miles today. So thank you guys for watching, and good hunting. We'll see you on the next one.